The world that your parents grew up in and the world that you are growing up in are very different from each other. Until the 1990s, most goods like cars, clothes, television sets and cold drinks were limited and produced in India itself. Today, however, there is a wide range of options for the products that you can buy. From clothes to cold drinks, cars to television sets, and almost everything else, the choice is immense. One of the main reasons for such rapid transformation from hardly any choice to wide-ranging availability of the latest models of products is the coming together or the integration of production, trade, investment, and markets from different parts of the globe. Behind the integration of production, trade, investment, and markets lay the rise of multinational corporations or MNCs from about the middle of the 20th century. The seeds of such MNCs were sown during colonial times. In the 18th and 19th centuries, companies like the British East India Company and the Dutch East India Company had their headquarters in Europe. Nevertheless, the companies also operated in the colonies in Asia, Africa, and other parts of the world. Even after the rule of the colonies was taken over directly by the mother countries, the link between the colonizers and the colonies remained. However, there was a crucial difference between production then and production by the modern MNCs. Goods were produced largely inside the boundaries of individual countries. Colonies such as India produced raw material as well as foodstuff and exported them to Britain. In return, it imported finished goods from Britain or other European countries. The colonies and the mother country were linked to each other through trade. Production still occurred within the boundaries of a country. With the independence of the colonies in the 1940s and the 1950s, this link between production and export of raw material and the import of finished goods continued. A new type of company, known as the multinational company, arose in the developed nations of North America, Europe, and Japan. They wanted to spread to areas where they could produce their goods cheaply and find markets for them. Countries in Asia, Africa, and Central and South America were the ideal places for these MNCs to set up offices and factories. Labor and other resources were cheap. The markets were large, and the chances of earning profits were huge. Initially, however, the indigenous production in these countries of Asia, Africa, and South America was protected through trade and other barriers. However, most of these countries gradually liberalized their policies, just like it happened in India in the 1990s. After liberalization, MNCs were able to enter Asian, South American, and African countries to exploit their cheap labor and large markets. Thus began a process of globalization, where the MNCs produced and marketed their products globally, often separating the process into small portions. For instance, a company may manufacture its basic components in an area where labor is cheap. It may assemble the goods at another location that is close to the developed markets. And it may have its call centers at a location where English is already a spoken language. By having access to cheap labor and resources and using the spread-out method of production, MNCs can produce their goods at half the cost that they would have otherwise. This means that they make enormous profits.